Hello, Endless Void. How y'all doing? Okay, so we are back. Now we are technically at our second stream here. Now, where we left off from last time, well, you kind of see where we left off, really. Now, just to kind of bring you up to speed, we started off with a AI generated cute kitty, and here, let's show you exactly. That is what. That's who we started off with. It's a little cute AI. I'm assuming it's AI. I am. I googled cute kitty, and I'm so sure that I saw AI somewhere around the image. And once again, I apologize if this is someone's cat, as in if someone did draw this. You obviously took a lot of time, put in a lot of effort. Put a lot of yourself in this. I want to let you know that I am taking the utmost care in completely thrashing this and turning it into garbage. I am on a journey to make cute things a little creepy and a little kind of ugly, I guess. We are starting with this cute kitty here. Now, there was some progress made. Actually, there was a stream that I done, and unfortunately, the audio wasn't recorded. So I took the video down, and I'm splicing it up right now, making it into a couple shorts, just to bring you actually up to speed because some more progress has been made. It's just in the lost archives. But here, I'll show y'all where I'm at right now. I'll throw all the layers on. Here we are. That's it. Cute kitty. Okay. So we were originally playing around with the idea of kind of venomizing the cat. That does still look like an option. I might go down that path. I don't know. I've been humming and hawing about. I've been thinking about this. I don't know. Like I really don't know if I want to commit to, like venomizing, marvelizing, venomizing everything. Um, I do have a penchant for doing that. I really do like doing that. So I'm kind of the reason why I'm not doing it is I'm just trying to stave off from it. It's a bit of the comfort zone for me for at least creatively. Like when I'm making things kind of creepy, I tend to kind of go, Venom's pretty creepy. He's a goopy kind of guy with sharp teeth and stuff. Okay, we also had decided on going with colors yellow and purple. Or at least those are the tones that I really want to introduce into this because they don't exist in here at all. They're also bright, kind of dangerous, toxic kind of colors. So I want to integrate those into here. I'm also thinking I might integrate a bit of like venom dripping off the teeth or something. We'll see. I I was going to go with the yellow going into purple on the head itself, but I kind of like what's happening already right here right now. Maybe I could play with. Here, let's get another layer happening. I don't want to start sketching on stuff. Maybe a purple stripe. What if? Okay. So also to bring you. I don't know. I'm trying to point to the camera. There, you. To bring you fully up to speed, we are exploring all sorts of aspects in just creepifying kitty. So this is truly exploratory art. No real set idea on where I'm kind of going. Ideas maybe had and forgotten or completely disregarded and going in another direction. That's just how we do. That is how we do. At least with this. Okay. I kind of like. Okay. So with the mindset of continuing this creepy journey or making things kind of eerie, a little weirder and weirder and weirder. What if, just hear me out. I'm going to bring out darker color here. I'm just going to sketch out. When I say sketch out, people who've seen the first stream know that what usually is a sketch, it's a preliminary thing. You end up drawing over it, replacing it, redoing it, erasing it, creating something completely different, whatever it may be. It's really just a framework. You don't really use that for your finished product. Another bad habit I have is I do like to make sketches. Like I love to make a rough idea of where I'm going, and then I really tend to kind of keep going with that, and then my sketch becomes the thing. Now, there's nothing completely wrong with that. It's just kind of nice to also have like a solid framework that you can kind of go back to, maybe you're just rethinking things. I've never done different though. It's never led me astray. I am a self-taught digital artist though, so any kind of tips or if there's anything that you're following from me, please take that with, pinch of salt. Just know that everything that I'm doing, it's more self-taught than anything else here. Okay, so the idea, going back to the idea, I love this whole kind of venom tooth grin that we threw on this cat here. Now, we also ended up, right? The original ears were there. We flattened out the face and then deepened out, like kind of made a really, really big cavity. So it's like it can probably hear really well, really well. But it looks like its face is kind of kind of pushed in, flattened. It almost does really actually quite look flattened because it almost looks like the wrinkles are like pressed or something. Um, what I'm kind of thinking here is maybe here. What if this? What if this is another opening? Right? Like another mouth or something. Like where there's like and teeth. Is that overkill? I don't know. Is that too much? I just really want something. I want something more for the foreground of the drawing. Initially, one of my first ideas for this in the first stream as well was creating, because Venom's also known for having this lashing type of a tongue, it's everywhere. Super, super long. And I was thinking it would be kind of cool if the tongue was coming out of the mouth and then it kind of wrapped around itself. So this little furry fringe that it has was actually as a result of its own tongue kind of wrapping around itself. And then this frill that's going around its back into its tail, that was actually its tongue just continuing. Like that's what I was kind of thinking. But the only reason why, pardon me, that I decided to go away from that idea is I think that overemphasizing the tongue kind of puts it more into a puppy dog area. Now, I mean, it's not a hardened rule, right? Like, I mean, like cats like clean themselves, so I mean, they lick themselves. So like the idea of a tongue on oneself like that, it could the argument's there that it could, potentially make sense thematically. Now there actually is a venomized cat already in canon. It's not really a cat that is venomized, it's more like a symbiote took on the form completely of a cat. Looks amazingly cool. Very, very cool. Has like 6 eyes. But it looks the form is like of a like a Siamese cat kind of a thing. And so every so often you may hear someone kind of just chiming in, not really caring about what's going on. Just so you're aware, that's just the advertisements that are kind of going on this playlist that I'm kind of going on. I'm using Stream Beats right now. I was advised to use Stream Beats for the music. It's really, really cool. I love them. They just have the random ad. In my first stream, I really had to kind of like kind of do something like kind of what I'm doing right now because there is technically an advertisement going right now, and I don't know how comfortable I feel with advertisements playing when I don't know what they are advertising. So I tend to go into overdrive with talking on top of the advertisement. Okay, we're back to music. Is that a gift? Real time blocking out advertisements with chit chat. Okay, so there's the tongue idea. And I do still I like that idea. I I I I still think it looks pretty damn cool, and also because it does give something else beyond just the face to focus on in the foreground, something else that's kind of interesting over here, up front. Because, they've made sure that there's a lot of frilly, fun, floofy stuff happening in the back there, and we're totally gonna figure something out for that too. I don't know. I've said I don't know a lot. In the last one, I was really, really in my head about this. I'm usually pretty open with exploring whatever and just free flowing. Maybe it's because of the idea of there being an audience or because it's recorded for posterity. Um, I don't know. I don't, I'm not really afraid of taking risks. It's more like, it's almost like it's weird. I guess it's interesting showing people not where I'm going, but where I decide to not go. Because there's always then going to be there's going to be people interested in, man, it would have been cooler if we went the other way, you know? Yeah. Can't please everyone. Okay. All right. All right. All right. I need to commit to an idea. The tongue adds also a new element, which is smoothness as far as texture is concerned. Everything is very floofed out. And that's pretty easy to like. Let me make sure that you guys are kind of seeing what I'm seeing here because I'm using a bunch of. There's a camera looking at a camera looking at a camera. Let's see if I do this. If I click here, that really makes things bright. Now if I click back here, I guess I'll only know in editing which is going to actually end up looking better. So sorry, I'm trying both. We'll stick with this. I think that looks best for the drawing. Okay. So as you can kind of see, like, yeah, as far as textures are concerned, before I added this, it was purely a soft thing with the addition of um, the eyes had a slight glint in them. So they're like, soft polished or glass or actual eyes. I don't know, but a different texture. And I love the idea of adding different textures. That's why, I went with adding in a gum line. That's why I kind of went even in with uh, not just the teeth, but it's not really fuzzy there. It's like almost like flesh, it's like flattened out Play Doh. I just know. I really, really love adding those elements. So maybe going on that stream of consciousness, maybe the tongue is the way to go. So I think let's do it. Let's just do it. Okay, that was my roadmap. Move that up. What I'm going to do with this one, I find that when I'm drawing, I don't usually have the exact same method for every aspect of a drawing. Sometimes I like to draw on top, like the very top layer, and go make my way down. Usually that's when I'm working with, say, something like this, where there's a lot of like fur and highlights. I don't mind working from my top down, highlights down to the base layers. And then other times I'm more comfortable working with whatever the base coat color is and then adding layers on top of that. And then the highlights and the shading and all that kind of stuff. There's times like this where I like having a loose sketch of where I want to go. And then underneath, I'm going to leave that. And then actually I'm going to be drawing underneath. Let's, I want to take that color. Let's maybe make it a bit more ready. That. Okay. Now, what's this layer is? Do I have anything on it? I'm going to clear it just in case. There you go. Okay. I find for myself, I love, as far as the drawing, maybe I won't be concerned with the tail just yet, actually, all that part. I don't want that to be on this layer. I tend to, I don't know if it's more that maybe it was meant to be Carver or something. I like not so much my drawing being what I'm adding. I like to be, I like it to be what I'm taking away. So I like doing something like it's like I throw the color on, throw the paint on, and now I start shaping it with like the different erasing tools, or at least different thicknesses and different varying opacities. We also need this to be a little see-through, just so we have a guide. Okay, I want to loosely follow. I kind of like. I kind of like the outline that I did, at least as far as the general shape. In the last stream, I was at least early on quite a bit more chatty, and as I kind of get in the zone, I tend to speak less and less. This is how I focus. Maybe I might make it a tight coil. Yeah. That'll at least force. I kind of like that. Yeah, yeah. If I keep it a tight coil and not so much happening on the sides, then it gives it a break from, because there's going to still be a frill coming out there, or at least there, and then into there. So I kind of want the break in color, or at least I want it to kind of. I know this sounds kind of gross. I want it to like look like heavy, like I want it to be like almost like hanging, you know. So maybe I need to be more like. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's nasty. Yeah, it's nasty. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally, totally. That's what. That's kind of what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking. Heck yeah. All right. I like to reduce the opacity just so I know. Oh, just so I know when I'm erasing exactly what's underneath it. You know, so I'm unveiling what needs to be unveiled. It's nice chill music. Yeah, it's all right. Now, the, the previous stream that is still up, I believe I almost hit the 2 hour point, like an hour or something, like an hour 48 or something like that. Now, unfortunately, the one that I did not have any audio, uh, that one hit 2 hours 22 minutes. So a lot happened during that one. Um, that's okay. That's just how things are. I didn't want that to stop me. Like I said, I'll just edit it and have a couple shorts, or I'll comment on them, give a little live audio in there, or maybe even a time lapse. I don't know. Could experiment, right? Some of the first drawings I have on my page here are time lapse drawings of some Pokemon drawings, some maybe Spider-Man drawings. I feel like. Um, that's one of the really cool things. Another cool thing about Procreate, it automatically, or you can allow it to automatically back up a time lapse of your drawings. So I just kind of thought, like, I didn't, and I still don't. It's obviously still a learning thing about streaming or creating content. I know how to create content for work. I know what work asks from me. Like, I know what I've been trained to do. I know the things I'm allowed to nerd out on, but you know what I mean. Like, I know what I'm working with when it comes to work. But here, it's like it's free run. You know, uh, so this has been a bit more exploratory, and I think with my drawing, I didn't really know how to exactly share. I didn't really know how I wanted to share, whether it be my journey or how I do what I do, or kind of like what we're doing right now, which I'm really digging, which is just let's create some art. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? A lot of this is just cleaning up around this gum line here, because obviously we don't want the. You know what I should do is let's get more smart with these layers. This would be underneath that there. It'll save us work. Oops. There we go. That's better. At least the layers are kind of like they're in the right spot. Now start cleaning up the outline. Okay. I feel like far more is going to get done this stream. The previous stream, the first one that is on here, and as well as the one that didn't have any audio. I talked a lot, And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, as a stream, that's fine. But I wasn't doing a whole lot. So learn from your mistakes, right? Okay, I think I'm going to keep fur on the bottom. Should I keep it white? Should it be? Should there be no bottom jaw? Is that too weird? Is there such thing? Say, hold on a second. If I take out the bottom jaw, that'd be so weird, right? Crazy weird. Um, I mean, like nothing's off limits as far as weird. It's just about how well that will that really translate. You know what I mean? Can you really tell at this point? Um, I think you know what I'm going to stick with this weird, gross, um, Play-Doh quality skin here thing. I think we're going to go for that underneath. Yeah, let's see this here because that has to go on top of. Mm, we're going top. What I could do is no, I'm gonna make it more difficult for myself. Okay, no, this will be on top. Which one's this? This is that one. Okay. Let's go with the dark one, the darker parts of the yellow. And not too big of a brush. Less opacity. There we go. See, the cool thing is because of the layering aspect, right? The teeth are actually on top of the layer that I'm drawing on. So that's why I can like go right like this. And see, it's not affecting anything like that. I mean, that's getting a little more yellow because that's a little transparent. So I shouldn't have done that. But I can clean up. That's okay. That's okay. Now I'm going to have to figure out the layering aspect with this tongue, though. Okay, do I want the whole jaw? Like, do I want it coming out like that? Or is that the area that I want purple? Do I want this part purple and that fringes out? I don't know. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Paralyzed by uh-oh. I don't know. Gosh, I'm really thinking like, do we even the purple? The purple is going to be more of an adding a challenge now at this point, or that's what it feels like. I'm kind of sold with just sticking with these yellow tones, these really gross yellow and pinky flesh tones to bring out the creep factor. You know what? Yeah. We'll put purple on the back burner if there's time or space afterwards. You know, like if it's needing something, then you know they have a back pocket color to throw in there to do something to play with. Right now, though, let's finish up this job. Oh no, yeah, I want to continue with the brush. I think it would be kind of neat if. There's some white there. I gotta clean that up. Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. This will blend nicely. Maybe I want the child to go like that. This is almost looking like a creepy Garfield. Oh my god, this turned into a creepy Garfield. Isn't that a thing? That's I don't like people have like made like creepy Garfield and John Arbuckle stuff. Oh, is that just what happens? You create creepy cat art and it turns into like some formative Garfield stuff. That's some kind of like weird internet curse. Weird. Oh my gosh. Maybe it's because it's flattening it out because Garfield has a very like well, 2D aspect for a cat that's supposed to be like very, very rotund. Yeah, he's quite 2D. That is bewildering. Is that just me seeing that? Like seeing a like at least the shape has completely turned Garfield. Like it's turned his disgusting, weird Garfield look. Like I don't know what's happening right now. Okay, weird, man. Okay, cool. That's one of these layers has there it is. Start erasing some of this. Which layer is that? No, it is yeah. Clean up the teeth a little here. It's easier to clean up the teeth now because at least now I guess I have a darker base coat underneath them, so I wasn't able to see this when I was originally drawing them. So it's kind of provided me with an opportunity to just clean it up a little. So I'm going to take that opportunity. I like having also the teeth like incredibly uneven. Like rather than like the easiest and fastest way would have just been to make about 2 or 3 teeth from differing like maybe like angles and then just copy paste, resize a little for consistency. But I kind of like the lack of consistency for this. Like once again, like the whole like squash and just everything is kind of odd and off center, asymmetrical. I love that. Drinking all thirsty. Saturated. So now I'm using just a blending tool, kind of like a smudge tool, basically. I only tend to use that for when I'm okay with layering colors on the same level or same layer. I rarely ever do, to be honest. Shoot, I don't want to do that. Oh, there we go. That's I want to keep some of that. I want to keep the really blown out, furry, fuzzy aspect here on the sides, and then that melts away for the main facial area, and then this jaw area. That play to weak type of a feel there. Oh, I'm kind of digging these vibes. Nice. Being able to change the texture of also your eraser is a pretty cool feature to like. I always recommend taking advantage of or exploring with those type of features. You know, if you're kind of like apprehensive about using all of these different features with the digital drawing, I would say hone in on the things that just feel natural to you and explore with those ones. And then for me, the natural ones for me to explore with were the mediums that I was already familiar with. So charcoal, there's like charcoal ones in here, pencil, eraser. The airbrush ended up being something that I just tried, and I really, really just fell in love with the smoothness that you can achieve with it. The level of control with how even it is. So now with what I'm doing here, I'm still basically using. I'm using a lot of the original drawing, and I'm trying to do I want to do as much of that as I can. And it's not even like a time saving thing or anything. Like I genuinely would love to be able to draw as little to make this look as creepy as possible. You know what I mean? Like, what would it take? What would it take to make this thing look absolutely? I'm trying to think of a good word. Creepalicious. I don't know. You know, it's just super, super creepy. But I also want to retain, like, there. Yeah, see, there still has that kind of derpy, cute aspect. You know, it's sort of still there, I guess. Poor kitty. All right. Let's just go straight. Some charcoal. Let's see. And by using this tool, charcoal now, actually, I am also not doing what I said that I would do, which is but duplicate the Play-Doh skin texture underneath, because the charcoal gives a bit more of it's really good for fur. It's because there's a softness to it, but then there's also lines. There's like little broken up aspects, artifacts in it that keep it from looking really smooth, like from it being basically like an airbrush. The airbrush is what I would basically want to be using if I wanted to go in hard on the Play-Doh aspect. I might. I'm going to slow down. So just having fun. We're having fun exploring with the shading. Okay, yeah, let's go in with the airbrush now. Airbrush. Yeah, we'll stay on this small, soft brush. I'm going a bit darker. Okay, so this area is pretty much completely protected from the light, right? So this is going to have, it's going to be, well, not bright at all. So not only is it going to have a very sharp darkness right along the whole ridge, right? Because that's completely devoid of any light in that area, right? It's right underneath the lip. So it'll be the darkest. So the darkest the shadow is when it's like kind of closest to the source of what's blocking that or blocking the light. And then the further that thing gets away, then it's a little bit more and more kind of blown out. So like the teeth will still have a bit of sharpness, but they're not really because they're a little further out from, and they'll also be a tad bigger too, right? Because the light source is here. The closer the light source is to the subject that's causing the shadow, the closer the shape of the shadow is going to be, the size of the shadow is going to be to the subject. Right? So as everything's close, everything's close. Light source is close, then the size of the shadow will also be close. If the source of light is very far away, then the shadow will also be pretty far away. It'll be blown out. It'll be much bigger. Trying really hard not to get distracted by, I have, like the stream on one of my monitors up here, and I have kind of ADD, and I get distracted very, very easily. So having something that's moving just off my timing and just out of my periphery is it's a little difficult to work with. Okay, so this is going to be the nape of the neck area, so this will have to be pretty dark. So I guess, actually, yeah. I think this will be like that, and I feel like this would be brighter because the light would probably be over here. At this point, I should be underneath the tongue. Okay, how do we do this? Let's bring this back to even for, I will admit that even for the eraser, my favorite texture to use for it is the airbrush. I don't want to like speak out of place, but I almost kind of feel like the airbrush, it might be a comfortable tool for people who are used to sketching. Anyone who's used to this type of stroke, if they sketch like this, I kind of feel like you'd really like using the airbrush and the erase tool. Like I feel like anyone who's a sketcher would probably they might have a very similar drawing style to actually to me, like what I'm doing right here, because I'm using a lot of motions that are kind of associated with sketching. Oh no, now I've made it look like the tongue is going back into his mouth. That won't do. I need to establish his full bottom jawline. Let's do that now. Look for the lightest color in here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we want his jaw to be like that. Right? That's very, yeah, very Garfield shape. Okay. So do I want that or do I want? Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah. I'm gonna stick with that. Stick with that for now. Okay, now let's go to the charcoal again. It takes me to that screen because it also gives you the ability to, you can edit your own brushes. Another cool thing, if you get involved in using Procreate, is that a lot of artists will create their own. Oops, I should be using the erasing tool. Actually, no, that's fine. A lot of artists will create their own brushes. So they're looking for very specific types of textures or things that, mimicking things in the real world that they haven't been able to, haven't found the styluses, or sorry, I don't know, I don't know what to call it, utensils, the brush tips, the digital brush tips. Um, and people will sell them on like really, really cool ones. I have not bought one yet. There was at least two that I was very, very tempted to buy. And I didn't buy them because, you know what? I didn't buy them. When I'm thinking back now, purely the reason why I didn't buy them was because I saw them on Instagram, and I'm just really leery, man. I'm super leery with like who to give your credit information to now. Like there's like so many pop up fly by night type of businesses just to kind of collect people's information and stuff. Sorry if I hear my neighbors. I'll have it. Okay, so that's gonna be kitties blown out. Kitties blown out. Fuzzy Okay. Now I see where this is going. Yeah. I'm going to have to do a little bit more underneath that tongue, I think. All right. Okay. Now, erase. That was not the erase tip that I was wanting. Okay. I want charcoal again. Stick with that. Oh, that was so huge. What the hell? There we go. Don't get shocked. I have a bug zapper. Let's fight all the Canadian bugs that we get. Those Canadian bugs, they'll get you. They will get you. Okay, now let's use a darker. Yeah. Oops. Okay. Now to mimic the hair, there actually is a tool for that. I usually save that to the end, or the last step on that layer. Where do you materials? There we go. So it has like a couple of different types. Yeah, let's use that one. And I'll give you extractions, you know? I'll give you like a couple of hairs. Yeah, just a couple. Higher opacity, bigger brush. There we go. Yeah, you can start to see them coming out now. That's too hard. I find that I think it's because of, you know, I was never trained on using a stylus. I've always just actually drawn or use pastels or paints and pencils. And just like if you're drawing with a pencil, I don't know if I'm the only one who did this, but like as you're drawing, you're dulling out a certain side, so you're always kind of like used to kind of like rotating. It's rotating as you draw, and then you kind of rotate. And I still find that I do that. I still do that, even though that makes zero difference. It's just so ingrained in me that motion of knowing that after so many strokes, my the tibbles is dulling, so to keep a sharper edge, to keep on rotating my pencil. It's looking far more fuzzy now. And we'll need to start clumping it back up though. Right. There we go. So slowly making triangular shapes. Here's kind of clumping up. Okay. Now the lighter tones. Underneath. Get rid of that one clump. It's kind of bugging me. Trying to figure out which. This one. There it is. Okay, there we go. That I'm better with. Okay, now here we can join those two underneath the tongue. We need this color, and going with back to the airbrush. Yeah, you called it. You got it. Airbrush. Let's soft airbrush, smaller tip. Bigger tip's all right. And mid opacity. There we go. It almost looks like some kind of like freak, like chihuahua. That poor cat. He's never looked better. He has never looked better. He, she, it, they. Who are we going to name this? Are we going to name this? We're going to name this Kit Kat? Kitty Cat? Maybe not. I don't want to get. I don't know if I'd want to get attached to something like this. I don't think so. Let's see. We'll go with charcoal. Okay, and back to, yeah, we want to stay underneath. Bigger tip. I wonder if I can. Nope. If I erase all of this. Only reason why is I think I'd rather I use this layer to do that color. See, now it's not touching the tongue at all. It's a bit easier to work with on this layer. I just have to be a little less careful, and it's kind of nice. Yeah, I don't care that. Now, I think we need to do something with his tongue. It just looks like orange goo is coming out of his mouth. Yeah, that's creepy. But we shan't stay with that. We will change that. Okay, a tongue. Now, do we want to go with a traditional, like a human tongue, you know, the mammalian tongue, so you see the little taste buds, the dots on it, or with Venom's type of tongue? It's just long and sleek. It's very reptilian, you know, very like some type of amphibian or lizard. For me, so we can go with that, and then sure, yeah. You know what? We'll start with that because I could always just add texturing later. But let's go with that. Okay, so what's the base color? Okay, so that means I would want to use that color next. And we'll stick with the airbrush. Okay, so light behind at an angle and a little bit of reflection over here. So that means, okay, let's get actually, where is my sketch of the tongue here? Yeah, it's not going to help anymore because I changed the shape of it there. So let's get rid of that. Okay, I feel like the tongue would be, oops, let's get a new layer. Okay, well, this part is coming out, so let's say all of this. So it's at least that thick. And I guess there's like, kind of exploring with the lighting right now as to like where all the major reflections would come off. Because also now this is introducing something I do really like, um, the introduction of a new texture. Actually, you know what? The responsible way to do this would have been, that's fine. We're not doing responsible drawing. This is not about responsible. Maybe another time I'll teach you guys responsible drawing. Okay, so that's a loop. Then that would be a loop. And then that's one. So that means this will be one complete one like that. Okay. Yeah. I think I see it. Let's go a bit more light. Let's go a bit brighter. Sometimes I make strange sounds when I when I draw. I've noticed that, and I'm probably very alone in this. It's because sometimes when I'm drawing certain things or certain elements, I hold my breath. I hold my breath at certain points when I'm drawing. And I think it's because I'm used to having like a sketch pad like this. So to steady myself at certain points when I'm doing really detailed work, I would end up holding my breath just innately. And so now, even though I don't need to do that, I do still tend to do that because there's no Axel T. Hi. Hi, Axel T. How are you doing? What am I drawing? Well, I'm this started off as a thank you, thank you. So this started off as a kitten. I'll show you. I'm actually drawing on top of something, so I don't want to take credit for something I haven't done. Okay, that's where it started, right? And then in a couple streams, what we did is we add some golden eyes, and then from there, we're kind of on a journey to make it a little kind of creepy. You can just call me Axel. Thanks, Axel. I appreciate that. From there, what we decided to do is I added on a really creepy looking gum line, some teeth, and then from there, it just started going kind of crazy. Yeah, I'll show you everything where we're at now. I'm kind of in the process of basically making really cute animals a little less cute. Maybe we're going in a Halloween theme. And what I'm also doing is I'm taking advantage of this opportunity to explore with different brush tips that Procreate allows because I'm drawing with Procreate on the iPad. What do I think of the MCU? I love the MCU. I'm a pretty big fan. Uh, I will admit that I have not watched a couple movies though. Some of the more recent ones. I have not seen the most recent Guardians. I haven't seen that one. And what else have I not seen? I think that might be the only thing I haven't seen. Yeah, and I heard that was a great movie too. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy is always stellar. What movie do you have a favorite in the MCU, Axel? I think I'll go with a lighter pink here, just for reflection on the tongue. Maybe a bit darker there. Oh yeah, Doctor Strange. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I completely forgot about Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was that was actually incredibly epic. I I liked both of them. I will say I didn't really think I would like them. I've never really thought of Doctor Strange as someone who could actually star in his own movie. But Benedict Cumberbatch and I don't know the actor, but the guy who played like the bad guy, the main bad dude in the first one. What was his name? Those guys who had like the purple glitter. It looked kind of purple glittery. It was a really cool movie though, man. The stopping of time and the MCU. I think I will also say I feel like they've put themselves into a tight spot. Because I'm a pretty big comic book guy. You might be able to see like I have some comic book stuff there in the background. I feel like what they might have done is they've built a universe that everyone knows they're building the not just the multiverse, but they're building an in-house universe of movies. But they've made everything so connected that it's very hard to get onboarded at any time now. Now you feel the pressure to have to watch everything in order to understand where things are going. Whereas in comic books, there are grand story arcs and there's smaller story arcs, but generally you can jump into reading Spider-Man at almost any point. You might have to collect one or two other comics beforehand or so to catch up, but comics kind of understand that they're not writing it in such a way that you actually have to have years upon years of backstory filled in. And I think that's where people are starting to feel, kind of burnout, a little bit of movie burnout, because they want to be in with everything. They want to know what's going on, but it's a lot. It's a lot. And not even every comic book lover loves every comic book movie or collects every single comic, superhero comic. But I feel with MCU, they're kind of forcing you to have to watch everything, and it's a lot. It could be a lot. What was your favorite part of? Have you ever heard of the? Oh yeah. Oh, Axel, you're saying all the right things, my man. Yeah, heck yeah. The 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 trailers that came out for the Spider-Man, the Venom with Craven. Oh, that looks amazing. That was also really good timing with the movie coming out. I mean, that being said, with all the strikes that have been going on, who knows if they're still going to if they're going to push the movies back up because they pushed everything back to like 2024. And I believe Craven's movie was supposed to come out in November initially. I'm really psyched for those movies or for those games though. I really feel that Sony's they're the so the Spider-Man movies of Sony that they've kind of created, their own universe, and I am excited about what they're doing with the movies. But I do think that Sony has more potential in creating a video game um, comic book universe. What they've done with the Spider-Man games and man, the Wolverine game. Oh man, Sony, whew, they know how to make some good games. The fight between Strange and Zoe. Yeah. That was really, really, really cool actually. I like yeah, it was a pretty mind bending movie. I actually remember seeing that movie with my family. A big group of us went to the theaters to see it together. And like my mom and my dad don't really have any clue as to like what um, the Marvel movies or anything like that. But it looked like a good visual tale, and they were incredibly entertained. And it was stunning. The visuals were really cool. I really love like any time that like when Doctor Strange did that, like with his hands, and that light, that light thing. Oh man! And then when they in was it Infinity War or what was the second one? Was Endgame the second one? Is it Infinity War and then Endgame? I forget. But like at the end battle, and then like Wong and both Doctor Strange like they put out there, and then all those gaps are all opened up, all those portals, and oh man, like I still to this day on TikTok I'll watch when people like recorded like what was going on in the theater, and like everyone's like, oh my gosh, when everyone's going crazy. That still it blows me away. When do you think we're getting the X-Men in the MCU? Good question. Good question. I mean, you know what? Like that's actually a really good thing to bring up because the Deadpool movie is I think it's done filming, and that has like it's confirmed that not only Wolverine, but Hugh Jackman's Wolverine will be in it, and he'll also be wearing the 1990s like X-Men cartoon outfit. Like it's going to be that style. And Fox was the one who made Deadpool, and Fox got bought by Marvel. So that means, or got bought by Disney. So if there's a new Deadpool movie coming out, that means it's technically owned by Disney. So they have to, there's no way, there's absolutely no way that Marvel and Disney is letting the Deadpool movie exist on its own. It's very successful on its own. It's amazing on its own, but they're going to tie it in. So I honestly feel the X-Men are going to be introduced in the next Deadpool movie. It has to be, or sooner, because if Wolverine's going to be in there, I mean, oh man. I hope Deadpool gets to interact. Oh, good call out. Yeah, absolutely. Spider-Man and Deadpool have quite the um they have quite the relationship in Marvel comics. Like they've done a lot of, I was gonna say team ups. They've done a lot of team ups. Um and their humor works off of each other so well. So well. And it would be kind of, that's actually a really good point because I've thought of course, like Spider-Man and Deadpool work really well, but Ryan Reynolds and Tom Holland would be hilarious. I could see that being absolutely hilarious because Tom Holland, I don't think they've given him enough to like. Spider-Man's a fun character for him, but I he's a he's a good actor. He's really good. He's a super talented kid. Like I think giving him the chance to play off of Ryan Reynolds and just seeing where that would go, like man, that could be epic. Like I've never checked out the what was it? It's Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. It was a Sony video game. I forget what it's called. So it was an action game. Man, I even have a couple of them. Ah, darn. But it was some kind of like it was an adventure movie based off of a Sony game, and I watched it, and I thought it was pretty good. I I may even say that I don't think I've seen anything of Tom Holland's that I don't like. I haven't watched all of his library, but he's also not my favorite Spider-Man. So I just think he's a good actor. He's great. Do you think Spider-Man will ever be in the Venom movies? Man, I hope so. I really, really hope so. Because at this point, because how many Venom movies have there been? There's only been two. I think there's only been two so far. But even then, with two movies, as I mean, Venom is supposed to be so tied to Spider-Man, like his origin. He's Spider-Man's responsible for him and Deadpool, ironically. But to not have them connected is kind of strange. There's been two. The Morbius movie. That's right. They had him in there. Morbid Morbin time. Yeah. I was so everybody said that movie was horrible. And everybody was absolutely correct. I was really optimistic. I wanted it to be good. I truly, truly wanted it to be good. But I don't. The more I think about it, I honestly I don't know. I don't know how they got it wrong because I do feel that the Morbius movies they have a good recipe for like a successful, creepy. Man, the comics are super creepy and dark, and I mean it has to be rated R. Maybe that's where they went wrong. It's been too confirmed that a Spider-Man does exist in the Venom universe. Oh, really? It's been confirmed? Oh, whoa. Oh, wait. Yeah. Wasn't there like at some ending? I feel like there was which movie was it? Was it actually the Morbius movie? One of them had an ending where Venom was kind of connected to the MCU in some way or something. I forget what it was that he saw. Oh, man. Axel. Man, all the brain teases. I'm gonna be Googling stuff like crazy after this now. It's funny, you take these things for granted, like, "Oh, yeah, I was at the movie. I totally know what's going on. I'm gonna go in and see the next movie." Man, refreshers are so important. I'm gonna probably keep on I think after this drawing, I've been on a loose exploration of possibly venomizing a lot of characters. Like, I have some other drawings I've done where I have, like, kind of mixed them up with, like, Venom or Carnage, or basically if they got a symbiote, you know? I just really l I'm a super, super huge fan of symbiotes. I love the concept. I think that they're just really, really creepy, cool. Like, I think that there's some interesting science that they use when they try and explain it, and I always find that fascinating whenever they try and use science to explain comics. I love that. Venom and Eddie were transported into the MCU and saw the MCU Spider-Man all the two. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. And so his first exposure to Spider-Man was being told that he was a criminal. And okay, okay, but you know what? Like that time, that still really works because like Venom was like in the comics in the 90s, he even had his own line of comics, and they're called Lethal Protector, is where he he's trying to turn a leaf. He was still a villain, but he was basically only a villain whenever he was around Spider-Man. Spider-Man still brought out, you know, the rage. So he figured that the only way for everyone to be safe and for him to try and be the best version that he could be was to leave New York City. And so Eddie started over in San Francisco, and he was actually homeless. It's a fantastic story. Like it's a 90s read, you know. I mean, like, you got to take it for what it is. Like there's mullets coming at you, you know, like everywhere. But that being said, uh he goes from being this person who's like, yeah, homeless, and he's using his venom powers to protect homeless people because they're being okay. So like if you watch the Venom movie, like they used a lot of Lethal Protector in there, which is really interesting. Like there was an aspect, if you remember, in the Venom movie where the homeless lady outside of Eddie's building was abducted. So that was actually from the Lethal Protector series because there was a corporation that was abducting homeless people to experiment on, and that, you know, that leads to like Eddie protecting, you know, protecting his people and stuff. It's really cool. And No Way Home, Venom and Eddie were at a bar. Wait, No Way Home, Venom and Eddie was at a bar about the other heroes, and he gets transported back into their own world without interacting with them. I mean, really? So he learned about them, but he never got to interact with them yet. That's interesting. See, I don't remember that one. Like, and my memory is really spotty with the post trailer stuff and all that. But did they leave a piece? Oh, what did Axel just drop there? I never even thought of something like that. Oh my gosh, that is a crazy Axel. I'm even tearing right now. That's a crazy theory. I've I haven't even heard anyone say that. Like that maybe what the way that Venom's introduced into the MCU as well is that part of him was left during that. Oh man, that's crazy. Oh no. It was in the post-credit scene of No Way. Was that he left a bit of him? Oh, man. Okay, okay, I need a rewatch then. I definitely need a rewatch. I will say that okay, okay, yeah, No Way Home was when they had all the other Spider-Man. Yeah, that one I only watched once, and I do tend to watch Marvel movies especially more than once, and it's because of things like this. there's things I'm gonna miss, but that was such a like a sensory explosion. There was just everything was happening. And I'm usually not a person to, like, watch, like, for Easter eggs and stuff like that. Like, I don't tend to watch videos that will explain all the Easter eggs. I like to just try and catch them. If I catch them, I catch them. If I don't mind someone just telling me. But something like that? Come on. Like, I should have caught that. The Spider-Verse films? Oh, yeah, 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 like, the animated ones. Yes. I have not seen the second one, though, and I heard that was actually incredibly good. The first one blew my mind. The animation style, I loved that everything looked like it was all, like, kinda dot pixely. It was amazing. I might have actually have maybe I might have something in here from Spider-Man. I don't have did I do anything for Spider-Man? I did this. I did, like, a little plushie. I did a drawing of a plushie of Spider-Man. I also do, like, on the daily, I make, thumbnails and videos for Screen Rant and CBR for comics and stuff, like, for YouTube. So, that's why also you'll see, like, weird, like, pitch meeting, uh, like like that. I love doing thumbs. Doing thumbs on YouTube is probably the most fun thing ever. I'm thinking about doing maybe, like, a couple videos of showing how I do thumbnails for, like, pitch meeting and stuff like that. I just love everything drawing, man. So you're a big fan of the Spider-Verse films as well? The animated ones were really excellent, I will say. This is almost looking kinda like a horny toad type of thing, you know, like those not is it a horny toad or those spiked salamander type of things? It has that kind of vibe. I think I might even stick with that. I'm gonna get rid of this tongue for now. I think with the Spider-Verse films, um, the voice talent is really, really well done. The animation is gosh, it's actually ridiculous. It looks like it's 2D, but they do it in such a way that it has such a beautiful 3D aspect to it. So, um, and I heard that as soon as part one basically finished, when that was airing, when it was distributed to theaters, they had already gotten the light that they're like, "Yeah, we're doing a part two." And oddly, I've actually been able to avoid all spoilers. I still have no idea what it's about. I know that there's like the Spider-Verse, and that's okay because I mean I have all the comics, so I collected the comics of the Spider-Verse. So, but I know that they have their own spin, and I've seen some really cool artwork of oh man, what's his name? The Spider-Man 2099. His real name is. Oh, I'm not gonna look at the screen. I know it's. I know that he's half Irish and half Latino. Man, I know that, and I don't even remember his name. Well, oh, there it is, Miguel. Yeah, Miguel. It's funny, right? Like you even hear it in his name, Miguel O'Hara. You know, like, but seeing some of the images of Miguel, like Spider-Man 2099 is a very, very cool and underutilized character. Um, when he was first introduced, because that was at a time when everybody was really just wanting to have updated versions of everything. Because it was you're talking mid '90s, 2000 was on the cusp. So there's like the Y2 bug and Y2K. What's going to happen? And you know, it's either going to be like the fall of civilization or it's going to be the beginning of this like new era where everything's going to be amazing. So everyone was envisioning these crazy, fantastic things, futuristic things, and Marvel was 100% on that bandwagon. And so they had the Spider-Man 2099, uh, Punisher 2099, X-Men 2099, Hulk 2099, and some of the mashups were just crazy, and they looked just insane, like absolutely insane. I would even be it's probably safe to assume that the only reason why we only see Spider-Man 2099 is rightfully so because he was probably the only well visually well-crafted character. Everything else was really, really bombastic. Spider-Man's stayed pretty cool. And even that looked really cool, like, kind of has like a skull kind of spider on his chest. Like pretty cool stuff that they did with it. Remember that time when Deadpool killed his X-Men origin self? Wait, what? Oh, oh, yes, yes, yeah, the live action, yeah, that was hilarious. I love that. Like that scene when he's like talking to Hugh Jackman and saying that he's like, yeah, I'm gonna call upon you at some time. And he's still just unloading. Like his other self is just still lying there and he's still just unloading on him. I love it. Man, Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool, it was something that was meant to happen. And I know I'm not alone in saying like how thankful I am that he took on the mantle to play Deadpool because truly no one else could have done it, or people could have done it, but it would have looked like absolute like donkey dick. It would look horrible. It would look just like so bad. His comedic timing. I was actually so back in the day before I would even say before um, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I really kind of thought that Ryan Reynolds would have made a really great, not Peter Parker, but a great Spider-Man because of his wit. And that's the one thing I've always been missing from all the Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield had a bit of it, but Spider-Man's really known for being incredibly witty to the point of being irritating. Like that's why him and Deadpool are like hand in glove buddies, right? Because they're just so used to just irritating the hell out of everyone around them, you know? And in hindsight, being incredibly not underappreciated. People don't see it coming. Like Deadpool and Spider-Man individually, they can pull some stuff. Do you think Ghost Rider will ever be in the MCU? Oh man, I hope so. I really hope so, man. Like I I'm not exactly a huge fan of the older Ghost Rider movies. However, I will say that I love the CG. I think they made Ghost Rider look amazing. And I think that what else went well? I mean, Luke Cage. You know, what are you gonna do? Like, he's Luke Cage. I was gonna say not Luke Cage, Nick Cage, my goodness. Nick Cage. He's uh gosh, he's just known for being Nick Cage. So I mean, we got a Nick Cage Ghost Rider. I can see if you've ever seen the TV show called something Sons of Anarchy. There's an actor who plays the main character in there, Jax. He's a British actor. He was also the main character or the main actor in Pacific Rim. I can see him playing a really good Ghost Rider. If not him, then man, if he was just a little younger, Daryl from The Walking Dead, because Daryl's pushing in real life mid to late 50s. And I'm not there's nothing I'm not ageist or anything. It's just Ghost Rider was a bit younger when he became Ghost Rider. That's all, you know. I mean, well, yeah, but they've been doing a lot of de-aging too. That's interesting. Really, an actor's career can really be far longer than we really anticipate to be. The Punisher. You know what, man? I actually don't think so. As I want there to be a Punisher because I think I am a huge fan of what Netflix did to the Marvel stuff. I even I even watched Iron Fist, and I didn't completely hate it. But I loved all the other series, especially Daredevil and and Punisher. But I mean, if Daredevil's being brought into the MCU, there's no way that they wouldn't be able to bring the others in there. The only reason why I don't think Punisher would be embraced as well is, I mean, it's Disney, right? Like you have a franchise that has like Bambi movies, and then at the same time, it's like, okay, under the same IP, we're also going to have this guy who wears a skull in his chest and like has like Uzis. They might want to separate themselves, and a lot of companies tend to do that. They'll create another movie company name, and then they'll release other genres of movies underneath that name to kind of just have that brand separation. But you can't do that with this because like it's all under Marvel, unless, and this would be cool because Marvel Comics, they have a separate series within them that's called Marvel Max. And the Marvel Max series, they take very specific characters like Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Daredevil, Punisher, um, was it Swamp Thing? No, not Swamp Thing. Man Thing. And they give them, it's like not just rated R, it's like super rated R. It is so dark and real. But that's how Marvel's kind of like, we're going to still let these guys have this story. I mean, like Wolverine has knives on his hands. You can't not have a rated R, right? So they kind of like let them be who these characters are supposed to be. And I don't think they're fully even connected to the main canon. They're almost like side quests, side stories, but they're so gritty and real. They're so perfect. A guy literally snapped people away for 5 years. That was so yeah, fair enough. That's so true, right? Like we literally saw people like holding each other in game, getting dusted. Yeah, yeah, that's true. They've but they've oddly they've been able to avoid showing any blood for how like at least I mean there might be like blood on the lips or a little bit on the face, but considering we have like how many years of Marvel movies and the amount of violence that these movies, like I'm a fan, but there's also a reason why I'm a fan of like The Boys, and I'm also a fan of Invincible because it's the same stuff, but there's a little bit more, there's a little bit darker truth there, right? Ooh, Black Cat. Have they introduced Black Cat in anything yet? Like in any of the movies? I don't remember. I feel like there was Felicia, right? Felicia Hardy was. Hmm. Actually, now I don't know. Was that in Andrew Garfield's movies? It might have been Andrew Garfield's movies that they introduced Felicia Hardy, because that is supposed to be Catwoman or Catwoman, Black Cat. So maybe that would be really really cool. I wouldn't mind that at all, actually, because in all fairness, they do need to amp up the like the female superheroes, and it's not even just for the matter of just like representation. It's just that there's really really cool characters and supporting characters that really need to be introduced into the Marvel universe for it to really feel like a universe. We've been getting a lot of focus on superheroes, which is good, but like say Captain America comics were at least 50-50, if not more, like a split of there's more scenes of Cap's colleagues and what they're all talking about and going through rather than actual action scenes of Captain America. And even like say with Spider-Man comics, the action scenes compared to how many speaking scenes there were with whether it be Peter Parker and Mary Jane or him at the Daily Bugle and the office life, or what's going on with his relationships, or what's going on with him and Aunt May, how he feels like he may be letting people down. There's a lot of like introspective subtext that Spider-Man comics tend to have, and I feel like they haven't introduced or really given those characters a chance to breathe yet. Hawkeye, Bruce, and Thor. Oh yeah, hey, that would be kind of cool. Yes, I hope so, because that would be really interesting. Because like now we're also getting to the territory where a lot of these characters, like Hawkeye, And like, ooh, actually, if we're talking about Thor, I feel like I remember them saying that I think Chris Hemsworth's Thor, at least, I think he's only going to be doing one more movie as Thor, and then he's no longer going to be like in the MCU. I feel like it's a health reason thing. I don't. I'm so sure I heard this. I feel like this was like it was late last year. It was released or something that he's going to maybe play Thor one more time, and then that's it. Scarlet Witch, man. I That's a tough question, man. Because I don't know where Marvel's gonna go with that. Because the second movie, the Scarlet Witch movie or the Multiverse of Madness, excellent, excellent movie. Um, Creepy, magic was great, but it also kind of felt like I don't know if I'm just imagining this. It didn't really feel like it had a really clear cut something's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Like it had that feeling of like uh, sort of like there's things that are not completely tied up, but not like there has to be a continuation type of a feeling. Like I didn't get that feeling from it. I got a very like, I don't know if they're going to bring her back, or I don't know if they're going to completely change. Because also Sam Raimi, who directed Multiverse of Madness, he has been brought back. What movie is it? He is like Marvel asked him to come back to direct another movie. So they are happy with his style and what he's brought to the MCU. And Sam Raimi specifically, or pretty much specifically, only deals with horror or scary movies. So if that's the case, maybe he's going to be a bit more tied to like Scarlet Witch or um, wherever wherever they're going to be taking Doctor Strange. Because I have heard, oh, Blade's coming into the MCU. So they are. Oh, and there was last October they introduced Werewolf by Night. So they're definitely introducing a lot of dark characters. So maybe Sam Raimi they're a bit more interested in getting like directors who are like, okay, the horror genre, you know how to represent scary movies. We need to get a bit more of those people underneath our belt. So that means Team Cap has 5 members left, while Team Iron Man only has 2. Oh, ouch. Somebody's keeping count. Oh man, yeah, Team Cap and Team Iron Man. That was a hard movie to watch, eh? Civil War. It was so good. It was a very, very rewarding movie to watch, but that was a hard movie to watch. Like, you just felt like everybody in that movie, everybody, or like at least every main character in that movie, they needed a win. They really, really needed a win. Um, Cap, you're feeling this ongoing, like that plight of someone who's so completely displaced in time, so lonely. Like that's the one thing that we got we got to see moments of it through, I guess, through what they let us see. But I really feel that Chris Evans, like he's a phenomenal actor, and I feel like they really could have delved a little deeper into um, what does it take to break a man who doesn't break. He's been completely displaced in time. Everything that he knows, everyone that he knows and loves is you know for multiple years been dead and gone. The reality that he's connected with is so displaced. It's so sad. One of them is paralyzed while the other one, yeah, yeah, exactly. Like all of his ties to reality are tragedy, and and that's why I kind of hope that they were going to do something with that. Like because every movie, even like the Infinity War and Endgame, he always played this a very pinnacle role in kind of galvanizing everyone and reminding everyone of why they're there, purpose, and I love that. But I wanted to see him struggle because he did, and they showed the result of the struggle, but they didn't show the struggle. So they showed, like, at the beginning of I think was I forget which one, Endgame or Infinity War, with the second one, but the second one, they started with him his cap suit was super dark, the star was torn off, and that's going back to a time in the comics where he played a character called Nomad. 'Cause he had completely lost or dissolved all of his ties with the American government because he completely didn't believe in what they were doing anymore, but he had this ability to still help, but he needed to be off, like, off the radar, and so he was no longer Cap, and I feel like they were playing with that, and they coulda done I wanted to see him kinda, like, disillusioned with everything, like, I would've honestly okay, I really think Captain America and Chris Evans would have been a phenomenal element to keep in the Secret Invasion series. I feel like Secret Invasion would have been far more successful if they had more people that were tied to um to Shield, like main characters, like Coulson. I mean, they had Marie Hill that didn't pan out well, but just other characters from that, even if Winter Soldier played like some type of pass through or something, because there was so much like international problems happening with it, and knowing that like the Thunderbolts is basically an international team, or that's how they're touting it for the MCU. So like there was so much great space to have this interconnection and other heroes kind of come in and do something. Tony and Steve became friends again before. Oh yeah, Bef- did he? That's a good question. Because wait a sec, wait a sec. Okay, so this is a brain breaking one because technically not really, right? Because Iron Man, Tony did the snap, and like he died, like in that moment, and it was more like it was more of an emotional moment for him to be shared with Spider-Man and with Gwyneth Paltrow. Um, but Steve went back in time to apparently put all the gems back, and he did live a life with Agent Carter, so he changed time in some way, and maybe in some shape or form. Maybe his past self, or sorry, maybe the version of Steve that survived Endgame and then went back in time, maybe had something to do with even their success. Like maybe he went back to fulfill some type of, I don't know, some type of loop. Because that's, I don't know, when you start playing with time, and I'm not talking about like realistically, like that would absolutely break my brain. I just mean even story wise, when you start playing with time, the um, you really gotta have everything super super ironed out. Like as in like how does this universe deal with time? Because even us ourselves in our own reality have no idea how time the reversal or going back, how that would actually affect things, right? Like they were talking in MCU, like, oh, it splits off and you create another fork. So technically, you're not really affecting that specific time stream. All you're doing is going back in time, affecting something, so then it forks off from there and then creates another eventuality. But whatever line that you came from still exists, and so you didn't really, what I'm saying? I don't know. Just see that, I'm saying, like when you start talking about like time stuff, I was getting really scared when they start talking about like, oh yeah, they're going to be introducing time travel in the MCU when it was for the end game and all that. I was really apprehensive. I was because, like I said, if that's not done right, it's a very, very, easy way to, man, to mess everything up. A lot of writers, a lot of big comic writers will even say that they very much avoid going into the area of using time travel. They try not to basically, back themselves into a corner story-wise where it's like, literally the only way we can solve this problem right now, literally the only thing that we can do is either find a way to affect time or get a reality warper. Someone who could warp reality, and that's the only way out. And it always feels very cheap and very it can be done well. Don't get me wrong. It can be done right. It has been done right. But it's also just like a what's the analogy? A get out escape jail card, something. Go past, collect 200. I don't know. I don't play a whole lot of Monopoly. When Spider-Man wait, what? When Spider-Man was voiced by Drake Bell? What? No, I don't remember this. Now you've actually said something I completely have no idea. He was voiced by Drake Bell? I don't know what you're talking about. No, I don't know that one. Oh my gosh. Axel, you've thrown something at me that I don't recall. You've broken my what I thought was pretty decent Marvel knowledge, and I've been called out, now I don't know something. I well, I'm glad that at least the chat has been saved, so then I can at a later time, I'm gonna have to go back and now Google Drake Bell. Drake Bell Spider-Man. I have no clue what that is. Drake Bell Spider-Man. My goodness. Like I know who Drake Bell is. I'm just trying to think when did Drake Bell ever do Spider-Man's voice? Gosh, I feel like I've seen everything that was Spider-Man related. Oh, an Ultimate Spider-Man. I didn't know that. Oh man, Ultimate Spider-Man is awesome. I I love everything about Ultimate Spider-Man. Like so good. The comics were great. The cartoon was amazing. The video games, oh man, like don't get me started. The Ultimate Spider-Man on it was like on GameCube and I think PS2. The animation was done well. I even have it around me here somewhere. Oh my god, I do. There you go. Ultimate Spider-Man, PS2. Yeah, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. Like a very, very big Spider-Man fan. It's a low key goal of mine to. I'm trying to collect every Spider-Man video game that's ever come out. I presently don't have every console. I have quite a few. Most of the major ones to at least that he has games on, except for the PS5. I do not have a PS5. Man, the Ultimate cartoon was so good though. Yeah, yeah. And there was there's was it Spider-Man? There was an Unlimited as well. There's Spider-Man Ultimate Spider-Man. Oh yeah, there's Ultimate Spider-Man and Spider-Man Unlimited. That's right. There's two different ones. So wait, remind me then. I don't think I remember then. In Ultimate Spider-Man in the cartoon, what was the major bad guy? Like, was that the one with? Was it with Green Goblin? I feel like it was a Green Goblin thing. I might just be making that up though, just because Green Goblin is usually right. Like if it's not like a Venom thing, then it's gonna be Green Goblin. Like that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. All right, I think we made some good progress on this guy here. I think I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. Let's do the hairbrush. I think I have the hair one right now. Clean this up a little. I'm gonna do a little tad bit of detailing on a couple thumbs. I actually kind of like how this is kind of blowing it out a little. Yeah, I like that. That looks good. Actual hair. Oops. Lower that opacity a bit. I think Miles Morales will ever be in the MCU. You know what? I think so. Yeah. I I I think that's going to happen sooner than later. I almost want to say that I feel like Spider-Man at some point, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is going to be more exclusively used in the Sonyverse for all of their, the villains in the Spider-Verse that they're kind of building there. And I kind of maybe this is just me just hoping. I hope that the Spider-Verse, the Miles Morales Spider-Verse stuff that they're doing, I hope that ultimately leads to Miles Morales then joining the MCU, like he through the Spider Verse becomes live action. I think that would be really really cool. Either him or if Spider Gwen, because I think those two characters would have really 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 great potential in the MCU, especially because the MCU is low key kind of building young heroes, like a young hero squad with Kamala Khan's Miss Marvel, and there's America Chavez, I think America Chavez from Multiverse of Madness. There is Ant Man's daughter, which Stature. That's the name of her superhero character. She's Stature, so she also uses like the growing, and she's actually a pretty OP character. And then there's also Hawkeye. What's her name? Oh, those are the Hawkeye series. I forget her name. But I guess yeah, kind of like training another Hawkeye, right? Was there any other young heroes? I feel like there was a couple others. What do you think will become of the Vulture and more? Oh yeah, that's right. Because they really made it very evident. Like it wasn't even like a teaser. Like he quite literally said, "We should team up sometime," or something like that, right? Like he quite literally said it outright. And now, if that happens, that means we're assuming that they're okay with having another, gosh, what's his name? Who played Morbius, Jared Leto. That means they'd be okay with having another Jared Leto movie. I I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I feel like I'm okay. Okay with it. I think Jared Leto is a talented actor. I think it really depends on the roles that he's given. I think he could do a good job. Um, and there's a lot of factors, right? It could seem like he did a bad job, or like in any movie, it could seem like a certain actor did a really bad job, but it might have just been also they were teamed up, like playing off of the wrong people. You know what I mean? Not everyone, not every actor or set of actors, play off each other exactly the same. The energy and um, pretend to understand a bit more of acting than I really do. I think they're trying to form. Oh man, that's what I mean. If that's where they're going with the Spider Verse stuff, like it feels like they're trying to build to like a Sinister Six. I feel like they've been trying to do that for a little while now. This is the closest they've ever gotten, and I really, really hope that it happens. And especially if because now that they've opened up the whole like multiverse thing, and now that they've introduced like the Doc Ock from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Like they've kind of like mixed up all these other actors and villains. They could have a really cool Sinister Six if they're willing to kind of like mix and match again. Like that'd be actually really, really epic. Oh yeah, Craven. Yeah, I think Craven might join them. Yeah, if they appear in. Ooh, that's right. I haven't heard anything about that though. Too. I don't know anything about. See, that's the thing. Like, okay, I am a fan of Craven. I think I even have another video on my channel. I did a full video on him and why I like him. I honestly think that Craven is very underutilized. I think that he's a has the potential of being an incredibly good good bad guy, you know? Um, but he's never really utilized very well, uh, except for when he's used completely on his own. Like, when it's just him and Spider-Man, ooh, things get off the chain, man. Holy cow. The things that I don't know, like, it's funny how talking about, like, Spider-Man and his, uh and his villains, when Spider-Man's, like, in the movies or in the bigger sense of things, he goes through a lot, but in some stories, his his villains, they're not just bad guys, they're, like, sadistic. They're really bad because a lot of them know Spider-Man is Peter Parker, like, there's a bunch of them that know his identity and his, like, worst enemies, and a lot of them use that to their advantage, like, they play with that, and they do so much psychological stuff to Peter. Like, to someone who's already probably a socially anxious, like, ball of nerves, like, the guy already has he's waiting to be diagnosed. Let's be honest here. Like, Peter Parker suffers from things. Like, he's very tortured, and to take someone like that and then do this, like, super psych job on him, man, and, like, some of the things, because like, yeah, like, he doesn't have his folks. There's been some characters who have, like, gone through the trouble of, like, faking that his parents, have come back. Like, they went through all the trouble of getting people to masquerade and teach them everything to say and know and integrate them, like, everything just to totally play with his head. It's messed, it's messed. Imagine if they make the oh, yeah, the Venom version of Spider-Man. Yeah, I mean, that would be pretty interesting. That'd be pretty funny. I don't know what that would do to the brand. I wonder if that I wonder if that would be a mistake, I wonder if that'd be taking things a little too far. 'Cause I can see that kinda ruining things. Like, I do like what they did with, uh 'cause they kinda made Tobey Maguire, his Spider-Man, kind of a kinda douchey, right? When he had the Venom symbiote. I mean, he's also whether maybe a better or a worse dancer, maybe that might be part of the discussion, but, I mean, he did seem like it was, like, kind of affecting him. It did seem like it was making him not great, that's for sure. Which is interesting because, like, now that we've also introduced the fact that, like, the Venom symbiote, at least in the MC or not the MCU, Sony MCU Venom, the symbiote on his own is actually not a bad guy. So they've kind of already eliminated. I don't know how they're that's just going back to Venom, I don't know how they're gonna turn him into a bad guy because 'cause they've already made him a hero, you know what I mean? Like, Venom has had in the comics and cartoons, like decades of a story arc of being a he's a bad guy, but only a bad guy whenever Spider-Man or Peter Parker is around, like, right? Like, that triggers him. So I wonder how they're even going to hmm, like, it could only be, like, a one and done. Like, the whole thing that we were talking about earlier with Spider-Man, he sees Spider-Man as a villain. That could get fixed so fast because that means nothing to him. Like, it could just be like, "Oh, yeah, there's a mistake. Okay, fine." Whereas in the comics, he blames Peter and Spider-Man for, like, ruining his life. There's very little that Spider-Man or Peter Parker could ever do to turn off the rage. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see what they could ever do. Okay, no, I do have a actually, okay. I need to backpedal. I do have a theory as to how they could make the arch enemy thing work with Spider-Man and Venom, and I think the only way that it could happen is if Spider-Man is responsible for the death of Eddie's ex-wife. If something happens and Peter is blamed for that, he will never, ever forgive Spider-Man for that, And so that's the kind of like, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of arch rivalry there needs to be. There needs to be like literal hatred. Like in the comics, like he wants to just destroy Spider-Man. He wants to wipe his existence, from like from our reality. It's bad. Takes over Ned. Oh man, that would be scary. Actually, I will say that would be very scary. Because I can see like Ned's smart. Ned's really smart. So like, and if like if they, I don't see that's an interesting thing. Like, because with Ned, I don't know where they want to take his character. Because in the comics, that his name is like his character's name. Ned is the Hobgoblin in the comics, and like Spider-Man or Peter Parker is not friends with Ned in the comics. Like they're not connected like that. So there has to once again, right? There has to be they have to introduce something that would create a wedge in between Peter and Ned if they're going to fulfill this villain. Because you're right. Like Ned's going to be a villain, whether it's a symbiote or something. There's no reason why they would have given him the name of a character who becomes the Hobgoblin in the comics and not explore that in some way. Whether Ned, you know, I don't know, does something in cyberspace or controls something, or I don't know. Like, I have no idea how they would make him into a villain. And that's a really interesting thing that you introduced is if he became a symbiote or maybe like an experiment of some aspect of the symbiote. Because I'm trying to, like, if in what was the so in the Spider-Man No Way Home, because he was there for the whole journey, but I don't remember. I mean, wait, didn't he like, it was kinda weird that he had magic, right? Like, wasn't there something weird, like, he was able to am I imagining that? I feel like there was a moment where, like, he has, like, potential or something, like, potential for understanding magic or something like that, or, I don't know, like, I might be just making connections in my brain right now. Do you think there ever be Civil War Part 2? I don't know. That's a that I've I I wonder, like, it would be a good hmm, I don't know, Axel, because like, in the comics, it went horribly. It did not go well, as in, like, people weren't very, very receptive to the 2nd, um, Civil War, and I feel like that could happen if that was done in the movies too, especially if they did it the same way. I hate to say it, but, like, Captain Marvel in, like, the live action Captain Marvel gets a lot of flack. So, like, Captain Marvel has been already kinda made into an unpopular character in the MCU, and really I don't fully understand why. I'm not really I think what's the actress? Brie Larson. I think she looks perfect for the role. Uh, I think the Captain Marvel movie, she in my mind, acted exactly like what I pictured Carol Danvers to be. So, I don't know why there's been a lot of resistance with her. I feel like that might be on the whole, we might just be hitting, like, a place, like, a societal thing, you know? A lot of comics and video games traditionally, they're mediums that are, they're very male dominated things, both from a written perspective, like the characters, as well as the people creating and consuming them. And I think that there's a very big shift in society right now where people they just want all the stories. They want all the stories. They want all the characters. And I think we've kind of failed. At least the MCU, I think it's failed in some ways. I think DC got Wonder Woman, at least the first one, absolutely perfect. Like they they built a, a perfect heroine. You know, like, I mean, it is Wonder Woman, but at the same time, Wonder Woman is kind of like a Superman where, you know, they're like these invincible characters and everybody kind of like is familiar with them, but they're also kind of like peanut butter and toast. They're just not on paper the most exciting things, but they ended up making them very, very exciting characters. And I do feel like DC, in a lot of ways, I feel like the writing of DC stories, like comics, even movies, I feel like the writing has been a lot better. But I feel like also the Marvel, their material to begin with, though, is already better. I think Marvel has better IP. Their characters, their stories to work with are very, very good and very thorough, very creative, very colorful, very great marketing wise. DC, a little less so, but then DC from comics to at least some of the movies, they tend to have really, really good story writing. So I don't know. I've been torn with that. So it would be really, really interesting. I mean, if they were able to bring a second Civil War, but I don't know if they did do it, then they would not be able to follow the comics. And it would have to be done, you know, completely different. Maybe with the new characters, like maybe with the new age characters, the younger crew, like maybe there's a clash of like young meets old, like old ideals and new ideals. That could be actually very interesting because then you'd see people with the same powers taking on the same powers, right? Like and almost like family taking on family, like stature, like from Ant Man taking on Ant Man and the Wasp, or things like that could be actually pretty damn cool. Hmm. What did after Endgame? What did Bucky do after Endgame? I don't. So after Endgame, he didn't go into. Okay, so no, after Endgame, he had the series with Falcon, right? There's Falcon and Winter Soldier. So there was that, and that's where they really explored that island. It's like really, gosh, I forgot what it was called. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like it was one of the Disney TV series, and they're on some island where. That's right. That's right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Captain, like the Falcon is now Captain America. You're right. Oh yeah, yeah. He's been gifted the shield. I think I even heard somewhere that they are working on a new. There is going to be another Captain America movie, and it's going to star. Um, oh, his name. I've forgotten his name. Mackie. Uh, something Mackie. Anyways, but see, he still is deserving of a movie to come out yet too. And apparently, um, from what I heard, they are going to take some of the story aspects of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where they kind of talked about how there have been other Captain Americas, or you know, people have kind of like worn the flag. But they, you know, when they were talking about like, there's a lot of really, 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 really great like racial dialogue. I feel like there's really, really good conversations that were happening or that do happen in Marvel movies. And I know people get a little up in arms with things being too force fed of like certain narratives. But I don't know if it's about force feeding as much as trying to just introduce people to like this is a current narrative, and these are current discussions that are being had. And some people just need to have this conversation, but they don't know who to have it with or where to hear it from. I'm not saying that it's very responsible to take your social cues from a movie, but at the very least, if a movie can introduce you to a concept, you know, of something that's kind of going on around you, why not? Why not? I think that's great. Staying hydrated. You know what? Thank you so much, Axel. This has been really great. You've been here with been hanging out with me for a good chunk of time. I've done like two streams, and two of my streams I actually didn't have anyone. That was fine. Like I'm pretty pretty good talking to myself, I guess. But it was really, really good to have, have someone chilling with me, especially talking comics. Because sometimes people will come in and be like, "Hey, that's a cool drawing. Let's talk about cats." And I love cats. But as you can tell, Axel knows. Axel knows. I like this stuff. I like comics, man. I like comics and movies. That's what I'm all about. So I really appreciate it, man. And this drawing is not done. So that means that as much as I really thought that I was only going to have one drawing session, but I feel like now with me doing my live streams, I think I'm going to probably end up. Let's not even think. I'm definitely going to be doing far more live streams because there is something really really fun about drawing in live, like in real time with people. So thanks, Axel. Thank you. Everyone else who maybe sees this stream in the aftermath, I'm not going to edit anything. This is just going live straight up. I'm not going to cut out anything, but I'm definitely going to be having another stream. Today is Friday. So just in wanting to make sure that everyone has time with family and everything, I'm going to be releasing some pre-cut videos over the weekend. Tuesday, I'm going to have another live, and I have to finish this ugly cat. It's either that or maybe starting something new. Now Axel's got me all like, I really want to start drawing some superhero stuff. I think okay. Okay, this one's for Axel. Axel, there's no commitment, man. You don't have to come to the next stream, because this great superhero combo that you've like thrown in the mix. I'm doing this superhero drawing, so I appreciate it. Thanks so much, man. Take care. See y'all later.